Firstly, thank you for joining me today. If you don't know me, my name is Essen. I've been making YouTube videos since 2020, so about 4 years now. Um, Originally, I'm from Pakistan. I came to Germany in 2015. Been here since then. Did my master's in biomedical engineering. Then I started working since 2017, working at the same place since then. So, so if you have any questions, you can simply write them down in the chat. I did have a poll in which I asked which topic should I cover, and a very large majority said that I should cover how to start investing. So I'll cover that topic, and in addition, any other topics or any other questions that you have in the chat. So let me just begin with how to start investing, and then we can cover other questions as well. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So let's begin with the basic topics of investing in Germany for beginners. So the first question and the main question is, what's holding you back? Why are you not investing at the moment? Is it that are you a student and you don't have enough funds to invest in the stock market or any other things? Or are you scared that if you invest in any means, or will you lose your money? So what exactly is holding you back? Or have you started investing and you have a lot of questions where you're confused about stocks, ETFs, taxes, many other things that are actually confusing, but um, it's very difficult or um, very confusing for you to gather the information. So what are you scared of? Um, for beginners, there are many options available in Germany to start investing. So there's the stock market, there's gold, there is real estate, crypto, commodities. Then you can start your own business, invest in other people's business. There are many options available for you to get started with. Okay, so once you figure out, okay, you are interested in investing and you are willing to invest some sort of money, it can be just €1 per month, 2, 10, 50, 100, 1,000, 10,000 euros per month, how much you are comfortable with, how much you are able to save each month. So before you commit anything, you have to do certain things. The first and the most important thing before you start investing is make an emergency fund. This is absolutely essential. So an emergency fund is, as the name suggests, is the funds that you will be using in case of an emergency. It can be that your car broke down, you have to repair it, you had certain emergencies. Obviously, it is covered in the health insurance. But for example, if you were working and you were unable to save additional money, you can hire additional help, private help to help you recover, things like that. Or maybe there was an emergency back home and you needed to just send some money directly without even thinking. So that is where the emergency fund can help you. And if you have no emergency fund and you've invested all of your savings in the stock market, cryptocurrencies, real estate, or whatever, then you'll have to sell a portion of that. And at the time when you sell that investment, it can be that the market is having a bad day, a bad week, or a bad month, and your investment is in negative. So you might not get the full benefit of your investments. So if you have an emergency fund, it can be very valuable for you, as the name suggests, in the case of an emergency. So for many people, the amount in the emergency fund is a question that they usually have. So I have many answers, but certain things are basic standards. For example, if you're a student, you should have at least €1,000 in your emergency fund. If you are an individual employee, then 3 to 4,000 euros. and if you're married with children, at least 8 to 9,000 euros. So this corresponds to your 3 months expenses. So if you're a student, apart from your let's say your education costs, you can survive at least 2 months with 500 euros. Like, you have to save everything, you have to just eat rice and beans every single day, but you can survive for 1000 euros in the first 2 months. So it's an amount that will be considered as a very small emergency fund for you. For other people, for example employees, 3 to 4000, you can live not comfortably, but with a relative ease in the 3 months that you utilize these 3 to 4000 euros in. And if you're married and have kids, then 8 to 9000 euros, very conservative amount, but still you can live 2 to 3 months with this emergency fund. Okay. So once you have your emergency fund, then you have to figure out what is your time horizon. So what a time horizon means is the amount of time that you're willing to keep your money, your assets invested. So let's say if you invest in the stock market and you want to buy a house in, let's say, 10 years, you can start saving your money. You can put that money in a bank. But let's say you want to buy a house in 10 years, then maybe you can invest that money, or certainly a large portion of that savings, in the stock market, and you can save. Let's say you have that 10 years time horizon. So in the 10 years, you can keep that money in the stock market and let it grow. And in the meantime, you can search for certain things. And once your 10 years time horizon is done, you can sell a large portion or even whole of that stock investment and then invest in the real estate. So for you to invest in the stock market or anywhere, you need to really figure out the time horizon. And let's say you have a very small time horizon of, let's say, 2 years, right? And you say, okay, I have 2 years and then I'll move out of Germany or whatever, I'll do something with my money. And you have invested your money in the stock market, and let's say there's a crash in 2 years. So you won't be able to recover, because your time horizon was too low or too small. So it's also very important to figure out, okay, how much in the future am I going to invest? How long am I going to invest or keep investing my money in the stock market or wherever? So after the emergency fund, the time horizon, then there is the risk tolerance. There are certain investment classes where the risk tolerance or the risk itself is higher or lower. For example, if you invest in the stock market with ETFs, 10% drop of an ETF value in a month or so is very rare. If there's a big crash, then 10, 20, 25% can happen, but it's quite rare. If you are investing in single stocks, then there's a higher chance you can lose 50 to 100% of your value. But still, if it's a quality company, it's a uh, valuable company, then the chances of it going bankrupt are very small. And if you are investing in the crypto market, then the fluctuations are very high. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, these things can fluctuate 10, 20% up and down. Bitcoin less these days, but still Ethereum is having very bad time these days. So the risk tolerance is also something that you need to assess. Are you Will you be able to sleep at night if your stock value or if your crypto value goes down 20, 30%? Will you be comfortable? If you are comfortable, then you can invest in more riskier things. Obviously, there are more rewards if it's a riskier investment, but again, it all depends on how you assess your risk tolerance. Okay, so coming back to the different options of investing, one of the easiest way in which you can invest your money is the stock market. Now, with the stock market, you have stocks and ETFs. Stocks, if you don't know, it's a very small portion of a company. So let's say if there's a company you which is available on the stock market, you buy a share of that, and then you'll be a very small part owner of that company. And if you, for example, look into ETFs, ETFs are bucket of very small shares, very small parts of different stocks within that. So let's say the most important or most popular one in ETFs is the S&P 500 ETF, which is having very small portions of 500 of the biggest companies in the United States. So it has Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, many big companies out there, and then you'll be buying very small share or very small part of those companies if you buy a single ETF of the S&P 500. So as I said, examples of single stocks are Apple, Alphabet, which is Google, Tesla, Johnson and Johnson, many other companies. And with the S&P 500 and the MSCI World, these are two of the biggest examples or the most popular examples of ETFs. So when you are investing in the stock market in Germany, you will need a depot konto, which is in other terms a broker account. Now, there are many options available for a broker account. Here are two examples: Scalable Capital and Trade Republic, but there are many others. For example, Finance and Zero, Revolut is offering cryptocurrencies, ETFs, and stocks with their banking app, and 26 has started options where you can invest in the stock market. And there are many other options, but personally, I like these two. I've been using both of these brokers since 2020 and 2021, respectively. So the biggest thing or the biggest, let's say, the benefit of these two brokers is that they are German brokers, and you can directly manage your taxes with these brokers. So if you have a profit or if you have a loss, if you have set up your stock broker account correctly, these brokers will actually manage your taxes. So you don't have to do anything when you are looking for taxes or if there is a profit or loss involved in your investments. So coming to the taxes itself, there is a tax-free limit for every individual in Germany, which is 1,000 euros per year. So if you invest your money, how much you invest, and then there's a profit, and then you realize your profit. By realize, I mean, for example, if you bought 100 euros, or let's say 1,000 euros worth of Apple stock, the value of that stock increased, and then let's say after 6 or 12 months, the value of that 1,000 euros worth of Apple stock is 1,500 euros. Now let's say you sell all of your assets or all of your stocks of Apple. So you bought it at 1,000 euros and you sold it at 1,500. So the realized profit is 500 euros. So when it comes to taxes, you won't be taxed on the whole 1,500. You will be only taxed on the 500 profit that you have. So in your account, you'll have 1,000 euros back, which was your initial investment. And then on the 5%, there will be a cap, or sorry, the 50% or the 500 euros, there will be a capital gains tax, which will be 25%. And then the Solidaritätszuschlag, which is going to be approximately in total 26.75%. So you'll be taxed on the 500 euro profit and not the whole 1,500 euros. Then there's another option of cryptocurrencies. In crypto, there are mainly two things that you can buy in Germany or in most countries, which is directly the regular cryptocurrency, which you can buy on Binance, um, Coinbase, other Kraken, other regular exchanges. And then there are crypto ETPs. The crypto ETPs are similar to the ETFs, which are available on Trade Republic, Scalable Capital, but the crypto ETPs are only available on Scalable Capital if you consider these two brokers. So the main difference is going to be that crypto can be traded, bought, sold any time of the day, but it is not in the stock market. So it is specifically available on different exchanges. You can keep the cryptocurrency on the exchange, or you can move it to a private wallet or software wallet, or you can move it to a hardware wallet. Excuse me. So with the crypto ETPs, these are exchange traded products. So these are only traded on the stock market. So there is a limit where you're going to trade that only when the stock market is open. So there is more relative security when it comes to ETPs because those are exchange traded products. And with cryptocurrencies, If the exchange or the broker is allowing you to move those cryptocurrencies, then you can move it to a hardware wallet or software wallet. So there's a big difference in these two things. But if you want to just um, have it depends. I won't say it's easier to handle ETPs, but it's a preference thing. With ETPs, there will be uh, easier options for beginners, but also for regular cryptocurrencies, it's also easy for most people as long as you know how the computer or sorry regular security functions of different devices work. So, uh, but there is more of a chance of getting hacked or losing your cryptocurrencies if it's regular. But I won't say it's more riskier as compared to ETPs, but it's easier for most people. So for cryptocurrencies, the tax law is very interesting. If you hold your cryptocurrency for more than a year, then that cryptocurrency, if you sell it at a profit, then there is going to be no taxes on that. So the crypto is totally free, or there's no tax on the profit if you held it for a year. Now, here there are many complications. For example, what does holding it for a year mean? So let me give you certain examples and the taxes which can uh, come on those profits or whatever. So let's say you added your euro to a Binance account, and then from your euro you bought a stable coin, let's say USDC, right? So the conversion from euro to USDC is always going to be 1 to 1. So there's going to be no tax involved. But from USDC, let's say for 1000 USDC, you bought Bitcoin. Let's say for the sake of simplicity, for 1000 USDC, you got one Bitcoin, right? So when the value of Bitcoin increased or decreased, it doesn't matter, but you sold that BTC or converted that BTC within a year into again either USDC or any other cryptocurrency, the value change will be taxed on. So let's say at the time of buying, one Bitcoin was 1000 USDC, and then you sold that at 2000 euros worth of USDC, then the 1000 euro will be taxed. Another example would be, let's say you bought the BTC and then you converted it to another, let's say Ethereum, and then you convert it into another Solana, Cardano, or whatever. Then within each transfer, the value change from the original value will be considered and it will be a taxable event. So you have to consider these things. Another example would be that you bought BTC for 1000 euros, again for the sake of simplicity, and you bought a burger from a shop which does accept cryptocurrencies. And at the time of buying the burger, the value of one Bitcoin has increased from 1000 to 2000 euros. Even then, the small portion of the conversion into regular money or a product, even that amount will be a taxable event. So there are many things. Um, for example, airdrops, they are also taxable and non-taxable. So it's a very complicated topic. But a lot of youngsters do ask me questions about cryptocurrency. So I just wanted to touch that topic very superficially. So please do be careful when it comes to taxes, especially in Germany. It's very important that you know the rules, you know the regulations, and you follow the tax laws and the code that is provided in Germany. I have a very detailed video. You can just Google SN Finance crypto taxes. You'll find that video. So I've considered many scenarios in that. So it will be something that you can look into. Okay, so that was a very short description of starting investing in Germany. So let me just have a look at the questions. Okay. How to successfully move to the US from Germany? Okay. Is it worth moving to USA after getting the German citizenship? Okay, so from personal experience, I have no personal idea if I'm because I haven't moved to USA. But from what I have heard, that's the only thing I can share with you guys is it depends on your profession and your ability to work in a very, very aggressive work environment, because there is a very big difference in the work environment in the US and in Germany. You can only find a very small aspect or very small section of that in the startup scene in Germany. But even then, there are too many regulations. I won't say too many regulations, but there is a lot of regulation that is helping the employee, uh, which is in Germany. And in the US, it is very, very, I would say, more employer friendly. And in Germany, it's more employee friendly. So if you are into like aggressive growth, if you are very motivated, if you are very good with new ideas, then definitely USA could be a good option for you to shift. But if you think that you need more job security, obviously there's um, no 100% job security even in Germany, but still, if you consider the holidays that are available in Germany, the Krankentage, or the sick leaves that you have available in Germany, if you have children, if your child is sick, even then you can take a certain number of holidays without having any issues with your employer. If you're sick, you get paid sick leave. Those things need to be considered when you are thinking of moving to a foreign country, for example, the USA. Okay. So the next question is, what is the most stable ETF to invest in? Depends on what you mean by stable. So if you mean by stable, it is um, less fluctuations in terms of drops, or do you mean by stable, is it like having steady growth every single year? So mostly the more companies that you have in an ETF, it's going to be more stable. For example, the core MSCI, or not the core MSCI world, the regular MSCI world has, I think, more than 1,800 companies. So it is going to be more stable than, let's say, the um, S&P 500 ETF sector. So the ETF sector, obviously, it has companies which are in the in the IT sector. So those will be having more fluctuations because those are more unstable in terms of the influence in the market. But if you compare those S&P 500 IT sector companies with the MSCI World companies, then the fluctuation will be less, comparatively speaking. Um, let me. So for the 4-up Pauschale, uh, this has always been the case in Germany. There's always been a pre-taxable uh, amount in ETFs, which was always present in Germany. But because the interest rates were very, very low, the effect of those that for our pauschale was very, very minimal. So let me just Google. There's a website. I'll share the link in a few minutes with you, where you can directly calculate those for our pauschale. But I think I also shared this calculation on my channel. Let me have a look shortly. I shared this, I think, more than a year ago when this topic was more popular. Um, I'm not able to find the link, but I'll share the link and more information on how the calculations for that are done in the comments in a few minutes. But uh, but if you, let's say, are having an ETF which is accumulating, which means that there is no dividend payout and the dividends are automatically reinvested, that will have an effect, or that will be eligible for the 4-up pauschale. But if you have dividend paying ETFs, those will not have that much effect. So if you are having a huge portfolio, only then I think there will be a effect of you paying your taxes directly. But if you have a relatively small, or even like 100,000 euros, which is quite big for most people, even then your yearly tax free limit of 1,000 euros will cover that for a pauschale tax. So make sure that you firstly use a German broker, and secondly have your profile correctly filled in, and make sure that you have filled in your Freistellungsauftrag in the tax section. So if you're using Scalable Capital or Trade Republic, you will go into the tax section and then fill in your tax-free limit section. So that will be handling your taxes directly. So to the second part of your question, which is the ideal app for filing taxes, um, there are many options. Again, it depends on what kind of situation you have. For example, if you are a single and if you have certain expenses like you're sending money home to your parents, then there are just 2 or 3 apps that are available in the market where you can have this option. But if you don't send money home to your parents, and there are regular expenses like you just travel back and forth to your work, and you have certain very small expenses like you bought a work laptop or work mobile phone, stuff like that, then you can use Wundertax, Smart Steuer, uh, very cheap CDs from Aldi, which you can find usually in the Christmas time around. So you can find the tax return app in December, from December onwards. So you can get it for 5 or 10 euros. I usually get it just for making videos. I get a cheaper version in January, which is at a extreme discount because most people have already bought the software for the next year. So I buy it in, let's say, January for 5 euros, 6 euros. So you can look at that software. So it all depends on the expenses that you have. So if you have your own side business and you have, for example, let's say, as I said, you send money to your parents, you send money to your wife or your children back home in your home country, then it's going to be a little bit different. And then I do have certain videos on that topic. You can have a look at how to send money from Germany to your parents. You can Google that video. You can find a lot of options there. Okay, buying a car. Yes, how to buy a car, financing or planning to finance. Actually, that's the video that's going to come on Monday. So make sure that you're subscribed and have the bell icon and notification or whatever. So in that video, I'll be comparing buying, leasing, and financing, just a superficial view of which is beneficial for most cases. So make sure that you watch that video on this Monday. Do you have to have Berufsfähigkeit, Versicherung, or income disability insurance in Germany if you want to invest in multiple real estate assets? No, you don't have to have. It's not a mandatory thing, but it depends on, again, multiple factors. So you're saying that if someone is investing in multiple real estate properties, then it means you or they already have a lot of assets. Because let's say if you have a full-time job and the banks are, let's say, they'll be giving you your first loan if you are either having a good permanent job or if you're having a good salary. But then if you have, let's say, a second property, then the bank will have higher scrutiny. So this means that they'll either give you very bad interest rates, or they will ask you to show a lot of um, eigen capital or initial investment in the second house. So again, it depends on your specific situation. So if you're earning a lot of money, and let's say your first house is cash positive, or you're getting rent, then you're paying that rent for the first property, and then you have your second property where you're living, uh, where you are living. So again, it depends on multiple things. But as far as I know, it's no flish to have the disability insurance. Okay. Investing in the stock markets in Germany is investing by yourself. Okay, so is it better for you to invest yourself or get the help of a professional? From my own personal experience, I think if I am able to invest some time in learning, then it's, in my opinion, better if I do investing on my own, right? So usually what people do, or what professionals do, is they either try to within Germany, uh, if you hire a professional, they try to optimize your pension accounts. So if you are investing in a pension account or a private pension account, then it can be a good option to do that with the help of a professional, because it's a complicated topic. But if you just want to invest in the stock market, not as a pension account, then I think it can be very beneficial if you do it on your own, because most investors or most professional investors, which do help people, they actually invest in some things that you can invest on your own also. So the most reliable for most people is the S&P 500. Most professionals will also invest in that S&P 500 ETF. You can also invest in that 5 S&P 500 ETF, and you can save that professionals fees, and you can invest that fee in the S&P 500 on your own. And statistically speaking, the S&P 500 has outperformed most professional investors, and if you take out their fees, so you are, in most cases, you're better off investing on your own. Just learn a few things. If you have a lot of, not a lot of time, but if you have certain amount of time that you are able to invest each and every month, then it's better to invest on your own. And like my whenever someone asks me, as in how can I invest in the stock market, I ask them, okay, have you thought about an emergency plan, emergency fund, time horizon, and your risk assessment? If they've done all these three things, then I tell them, okay, do you have enough time each and every day or week or month? How much time do you have? If someone says, I have 10, 15 minutes a week that I can give to researching or whatever, then I say to them, okay, start with a simple ETF. You can invest in the S&P 500. If you're looking for halal investment options, you can invest in the iShare Islamic S&P 500 option, uh, either of these two ETFs, and you can just keep a savings plan and let it run automatically. You don't have to think about it twice. You set up a specific amount, set a savings amount, and then let it run for how many days or month or years that you want. And then once you learn something, then you can think of changing your ETF strategy, or maybe looking into individual stocks or something like that. So just get started. I would say it's better for you to do it on your own. But if you're someone who has like, who's very very scared of losing their money, then I would say look into talking to a professional first, get some counseling, and then like start. Just start. That's the main thing. Okay. In a YouTube video, you showed that during the initial months of your scalable capital portfolio, there were losses. Yes. How did you stay motivated during that phase when it feels that you're losing money? Well, that is again, as I just mentioned, that you have to figure out your risk tolerance. If you weren't here in the beginning of the video, I did talk about that topic, but uh, you do learn it with experience. I've shared this in many videos. It was one of the few months when I had started investing. It was, I think, the third month of me investing, or the fourth month. There was a huge dip in the stock market. There was a 4% dip in my whole portfolio. I got scared and I sold every single investment. At that time, I wasn't investing in ETFs. I was investing in individual stocks. So I sold every single thing. Like, before selling, let me give you the whole scenario. So it was the morning, the stock market was okay. um, I went to work, I opened my app at like 9 or 10 a.m. The stock market started going down. It was like 12 a.m 2%, 2.5%. 3 p.m. it was like 4% down. Then I said, okay, it's too much. I sold every single like individual position I had. I think at that time I had Nvidia, Boeing, BASF, Microsoft, and Google, and some other things. I sold every single thing. And then once I sold, the stock market started recovering. I was busy at work, so I didn't look at it again. And then it was around 6 o'clock or something, and I saw the whole value coming back. And then I had to buy. I didn't have to, but I did buy at a 2% loss. So my portfolio went minus 4% and sold it. I sold everything. And then when I bought everything, I had another loss because I bought at 2% higher values again into those same companies. So I had a loss of 6%. So that thing really taught me, okay, if I'm investing in quality companies, if I have done my research, then I know in the short term there's going to be volatility in the stock market. It's going to be difficult. But if the company is a quality company and there's no fundamental issue with that company, it's going to recover. So after that, I figured out, okay, I'm only going to invest in either ETFs or in individual companies where I have a conviction that it is a good company, and then it's not going to lose its value because I think it's a quality company. So that was the main motivation. So since then, I have only sold a company when I think that I have enough profit. For example, I invested, a weird story, but I think I haven't shared it with anyone. So the first time I added funds in Trade Republic, that was the first broker that I started investing in. I added 1,000 euros. I bought different companies, as I said, Boeing, BASF, Microsoft, other things. Then I had 30 euros left. And the 30 euros left, I said, okay, let me buy a random company. So I looked into different companies. That there was a company called Tetra Technologies, right? So I bought, I think, 100 or 500. I don't specifically remember, but I think it was, I think 100 because it was at point 0.3, right? So I bought 100 stocks for that company just for the sake of fun. I had 30 euros left, and I sold that 330 euros worth of stock 2 months ago at 600 euros. That was the biggest gain that I have ever had. But I thought the 600 euro worth of value is enough for me right now. So I just sold it and I got into another company. So I bought some Meta stock with that. Um, so the moral of that story is I generally don't sell out of companies. I only sell out of companies when I think there's a fundamental issue, or I think I've had too much profit, or I just want to trim. So that Tetra Technology was something that I just randomly bought. It gave me really good gains, but I wasn't following that company, and I did not know. Like, I did know what it was doing, but I wasn't actively following it. So personally, I think if I'm investing in a company, at least I should follow that company and see how it is performing. What are the different factors for individual stocks? So that is something that does keep me motivated. So I know, okay, my time horizon is at least 10 years. So for every single company that I'm investing in, it's at least 10 years. Or for most companies, I think it's like farther away. So right now I don't have any real estate investments, but I think if I find something that is good, I can either sell my stock or ETF portfolio, or I can dip into certain other savings or certain other investments that I have, and then look into real estate. So for the time being, I have like a 10 years, at least 10 years time horizon, when even if I'm losing my portfolio value or if there's a negative, I can actually think of getting it recovered. And as the time horizon is long, it will definitely go up in statistically speaking with the data from history. Okay. So let me go to the, oh, lost the track. Been following your channel for quite a while now. You have been really. Thank you for the kind words. Germany with student visa from Turkey. I accepted to play football in fifth German division. They pay money too, but I can earn money on football with student visa. And so it depends what kind of visa did you get. So is it a Ausbildung visa or is it something else? It depends on the kind of visa that you got, because if the visa is saying that you are an employee of a company of a football company, maybe you can give me certain details so that I can share more details. But if you are on a student visa and they're paying you, uh, so these hours will be either cut from your main 140 days or not cut. But I'll need more information to answer that question in detail. So the next question is, I have invested in the stock market and have taken some credit from Scalable Capital for buying some stocks. Okay, can I deduct the interest expense on the capital gains, or I still have to pay the flat tax of 25%? Okay, so I think Scalable Capital has started offering certain loans based on your invested amount, and from that loan you can invest in the stock market as well, and then the gains will be, if you have taxes, that tax will be deducted if you apply for a tax return. So it won't be directly cut from the profit that you get. So it's a little bit complicated. So it's not one to one direct cancellation. So if you show that you have gotten a credit and you have invested that money, then the interest will be needed to be shown in the tax return, and in that tax return it will be added to your whole income for that year, so it will not be directly cut from your capital gains. Hello, hi, thank you so much for your videos. Thank you for the kind words. Can you please discuss about stocks can we consider in 2024? So for individual stocks, personally speaking, if you ask for my opinion, I would say if you're a beginner, you should always look into ETFs, learn about the stock market, how the different aspects of the stock market, like the PE ratio and like the revenue, different aspects of the company data that you can read, the quarterly reports, stuff like that. And if you are a professional, then I would say look into your field. For example, um, I'm in the automotive industry, mostly in research, but it is related to the automotive industry in some way or another. So I'm mostly in hydrogen sensors. So the first companies that the individual companies that I looked into as investments was either the things that I use, for example, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Google, those things, the technology companies or the technologies that I'm using on a regular basis. Then I started looking into hydrogen companies. At that time, when I invested on those companies, there was a big interest in that. So I invested in those companies. But then because I'm added or I'm in that field, I knew now it's a bad time to be invested in hydrogen because there's little or low interest in those companies these days. So I quickly got out of those companies and I avoided huge losses. I actually made some money trading those stocks. But if you are a professional, then you can think about investing in those individual companies which you are um, working with on a regular basis. But make sure that you are allowed to invest in different kinds of companies, because there are uh, different laws based on your employment contract. So make sure that you're allowed to invest in certain companies. And for example, if you are in a company which is publicly traded, you can always get certain stocks at a discount from your own company as well, which is quite a good option. If it's a big company, if it's a usually a technology company, it can be very good as well. Okay. Can I open a broker account before reaching Germany? Depends from where are you coming. If you're from a European country, yes, you can open a Scalable Capital or a Trade Republic account, depending on different countries, European countries. And if you're coming from outside Europe, then unfortunately, no, you cannot open a German broker account from outside Europe. Do we have mutual funds in Germany? Yes and no. Yes, if you buy through them through a professional, yes, those are available. But I would say there's no main difference between ETFs and mutual funds. So I would highly recommend that you look into ETFs and invest in ETFs on your own. it will definitely save you a lot of time and a lot of money in terms of fees from those mutual fund providers. Getting a lot of rejections from the companies, and it's kind of extra pressure during study. Do you know, it's a lot. Yes. How to overcome this? Please help us. So right now, yes, the German economy is struggling. I see a lot of companies are actually struggling. A lot of my friends have lost their jobs. A lot of companies do have very, very difficult positions right now. So you really need to like be extraordinary right now to get a decent job. So the first and the foremost thing is really, really look into your resume. Um, is it English? Is it German? If it's in English, I would highly recommend that you work on your German language and write it in German. If it's in German, is it the correct format? If it's the correct format, make sure that you uh, add all of the details. I recently had a German CV format video just this last week, so make sure that you watch this video. Make sure you excuse me, make sure that you have all of your data correctly added on that, and make sure that you are uh, firstly your photo. It's very important. I don't know why a lot of like subcontinental students, they always use those weird photos, the passport photos that we have. So please don't use that. Make sure that you're using a correct photo. And if you have all of the information correct, then make sure that you are using the keywords that are available in the job posting. Don't spam your resume, but make sure that you are using certain important keywords. For example, if it's a programming job or any job which has anything to do with programming, make sure that you have a GitHub account where you do similar work and you post your repositories there. If it's an engineering field, let's say if it's a civil engineering thing, maybe there's a software and alternative to GitHub. I'm not sure about civil engineering, but make sure that you have relevant data that is connected to to that job. Now, a lot of students don't have practical experience, but during your study life or your masters, usually most students are in masters or even in bachelors, you try to get a job in the field that you're working in, a part-time job, I mean. If you get a VEC student, if you get a HEVI, that is very essential, because that also counts as that you cannot apply for, let's say, a HEVI position or a practicum or a thesis, and you did it in the university, or even let's say you applied for all of those things, you have a lot of those experiences, and then my only recommendation for you would be to apply more. And um, with ChatGPT and Notebook LM available since 2 or 3 days, you should definitely look into leveraging artificial intelligence to helping you out. For example, what you can do is feed all of your resume, all of your cover letters, all of your information to a model, and make an agent that is optimizing your resume, and you only add the let's say the job posting into that model, and ask your model to just optimize your resume and optimize your cover letter based on that specific job posting. So if you put in initial work in optimizing your model, then it can definitely help you save time in just making customized resume modifications and customized modifications to your cover letter. So that is maybe something that you can look into. And at the end of the day, it's just a repetition process. Just apply and wait and apply, and instead of just losing motivation, just apply in as many companies as you can. But make sure that your resume is actually relevant in that field, because if it's not relevant in that field, and if there's no matching for your profile and there's no matching in that company for what you have done, then obviously they will say, okay, this person is absolutely no match for us. Then why waste our time? So make sure that you do follow that pattern. Maybe that can help you in some way or another. And please stay positive. Definitely you're going to find some work soon. Okay. Again, lost track of questions. um you're learning the German language, but your seniors saying that it is difficult to get Ausbildung contract. What can we do? Juniors. Um, Depends on which field you're looking for Ausbildung contracts. There are many companies which are. Uh, I think when it comes to applying from outside Germany, there's a big misconception. Most people only apply in cities which are known. For example, people know Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt. Let's say some know Cologne, Dusseldorf, Bonn. These aren't the only cities available in Germany. These aren't the only cities which have jobs. So first is figure out which field you're applying for from specifically outside Germany, and then look into smaller cities. These smaller cities generally have opportunities available if, obviously, if you have really good German. So first, obviously, figure out the process of learning the German language, learn the German language, and apply in smaller cities. I think I know a lot of, but again, it depends on your field. There are certain fields which have a lot of openings, certain fields which have very few openings. So first, it depends on the field, but secondly, it is very dependent on which city you're applying in. So make sure that you look into smaller cities as well when you're applying for Ausbildung contracts. Okay. Mhm. Basically, I'm in the third semester in Masters in International Management. I have done my so the question was, you're getting a lot of rejections. Okay, so if you're in the third semester in Masters in International Management, if it's allowed for you to have a fourth semester, maybe I won't just recommend, but maybe you can look into that. Is perhaps take a semester break and look into getting a HEVI position or a VEC student or thesis position if you haven't done your thesis already. So if you're in the thesis section of your studies, then obviously you cannot. In most cases, you can't do your thesis and stay registered with your university and then do an Ausbild or do a practicum or a practicum or a VEC student position. So if you haven't done your thesis, uh, whenever a student asks me, I'm getting a thesis position in my university, I always ask them, is it the last option? Have you tried everywhere else? If they say no, I haven't tried, then I ask them, is there an option for you to get a semester break? Can you wait, or can you apply for a field specific job in the next semester? Can you get a practicum even if it's paying very little? Like uh, i took I technically didn't take a semester break. In my course, I had to do B2 language in my master's. So when I came, I did A1 from back home, came to Germany. In my first semester, I did A2, then B1 in the second semester. Then I had to do my thesis. So I asked my university if I could take a semester break or technically a half break or whatever, because I had to do my B2 language. And then I asked them, is it possible for me to not do my thesis in the third semester? They said yes. In that time, I searched for field related jobs. So at that time, I found two VAC student jobs. One was in the university itself, but it was more towards programming. So I was responsible for programming, um, excuse me, the portal for the university portal for students. So I was in the programming section of the university itself, and then I found another HEVI position in the place which I am working since I was a student. So I found a Hiwi position. So this Hiwi position wasn't paying me a lot, but it was actually something that I knew, because it was in the field, it would definitely help me. So if you get a chance to have a lower paying but field related job, that will definitely help you. So make sure that you try to follow that track if it's possible for you. Okay. Any particular source that you use to learn about the German stock market? So personally, I do not invest in the German stock market. The only company that I've invested in, or in the past, or that I liked to invest is the company which is SAP. Other than that, I do not like. Honestly speaking, I do not invest in German companies compared to the US companies, because I see a huge upside in the United States stock market. It's more stable, relatively speaking, compared to the German market. So for German stock market specifically, there is the Actionnaire, which is a German publication. You can follow that. Other than that, I don't specifically know for the German stock market, but if you're looking for stock markets in general, then you can look into Yahoo Finance, Seeking Alpha, and there's the Morning Brew newsletter, which is very good. So you can also uh, register with that newsletter, which will definitely be very interesting if you are um, if you're wanting to learn about the stock market. Okay, on which stock market are you talking about, brother? US. So if you are in Germany, you can invest in any stock market in the world. So while being in Germany, I invest mostly in the United States stock market. But there's options available for Indian stock market. You can invest in the Chinese stock market. I think almost every single market in the world. You can uh, find every single stock depending on the broker. So with Scalable Capital and Trade Republic, you mostly have ETFs available for individual countries. You have more German stocks, certainly certain European stocks, and more US stocks in Scalable Capital and Trade Republic. And if you are looking for more companies from other countries like India, China, or non other non-European countries, then you will have to look into other brokers. For example, there's Traders Place, which has, I think, more than 25,000 stocks, individual stocks available on that. So it can be an option if you are looking to invest in companies that are outside Europe and the United States. Okay, can a TR holder get a mortgage in Germany? Did you mean PR or TR? Maybe I think it's TR. So yes, you can get a mortgage in Germany. Even if you have a blue card, you can get mortgage in Germany. It depends on your specific case. So if you are a PR holder, the chances of you leaving Germany are relatively low, speaking as compared to a blue card holder. So if you are a blue card holder, the bank might ask you to have a higher initial investment. For a PR holder, the bank may say that, okay, you can get 100% loan where you don't put in any down payment on your real estate. So in almost all cases, if you're on a permanent residence, or if you have a blue card, you can get a mortgage in Germany. Is it important to do tax returns if you are tax class 1 and do investing? No, it's uh, not obligatory, but I would recommend it for you to do your tax return, because on average, there are many things that you can put into your tax return. Like the biggest expense for most expats is the money that they send back home. So if you send more than 5% of your income every year back home, let's say to your mother, father, your wife, and your children, or if you send it to your grandparents, you can actually claim part of that money back in your tax return. So it can be huge amounts. I know many people who send 10, 20,000 euros each year to their parents, maybe their wife, their children, their grandparents. So they can actually claim a huge amount of that money back home. So this amount again depends on the country where the recipient is, and the amount of money that you send each and every year to them. So that is one big expense. Another big expense is the travel costs that you have. um, so if you are working further away from your if you're living, sorry, further away from your work, you can put in a lot of taxes, or you can put in a lot of claims as in the tax return. Another big example would be having two houses. For example, if you live in one city, for let's say you and your wife and your children, or someone who is having a place in one city, and they move to another city for work, they can put in the travel, they can put in the umsu cost or the relocation costs for in the tax return. And let's say if someone is having one house and they're having another house or apartment or a room in another city, just for the sake of work, they can have the whole rent of the second house or the apartment considered in the tax return. So the rent, the utility bill, in every single thing that is added in that secondary house can be put in a tax return. So it can be actually beneficial, but again, it depends on what you're doing, right? So let's say if you're single having tax class 1, and you live like 2 or 3 kilometers away from your work, and you generally walk there, and you have no work related experiences expenses, and you send no money back home, there's no expense that you can add, then I would recommend, even then I would recommend that you open an app which I have many tutorials on, that's called Wundertax. Open that app, add your Lohnsteuerbescheinigung. That's a single document that you get either in the December salary slip or in the January salary slip. Add that information. The app will give you yes or no options. You can say yes. If you say yes, you'll get certain options. You add in that information. Next, next, next. By the end of that process, you'll get to know this much amount is being owed by the tax office to you. If you think it's good, if that amount is good for you, or in your mind, if it's a good amount, let's say it's 5, 6, 700, or let's anything above 100 euros, you can consider applying for the tax return with the help of that paid app. Obviously that this is a paid app, so you'll be paying 30, 40, 50 euros depending on the time. I usually have a €5 discount, so if you use my key my link, you get €5 discount. But either way, if you don't use it or whatever, then depends when you're applying, they generally have certain discounts also. So you pay that 30 euros, 40 euros, and you get 500 euros back, so it's a plus. And if they say you have to pay taxes, then you can think about not applying it, right? But in addition to that, certain there are certain things that you need to consider. For example, if you ever got an unemployment benefit, then even if you're in tax class 1, you have to submit a tax return. If you got Kindergeld, or if you got certain assistance from your employer, even then you might be obliged to file a tax return. I have a detailed article on my website snfinance.com. You can just Google how to submit a tax return. You'll find all of those conditions there. So make sure that you are not obliged. If you're not obliged and you think even after using that app, if it's 30, 40 euros return, then it doesn't matter. You don't have to submit a tax return. Okay. What is your major? I did my master's in biomedical engineering, but I'm not working in that field. I feel having €100,000 investment portfolio is better than investing, but is a better investment than investing into buying an apartment in Germany. What's your opinion on it? Um, Depends. I think buying a house is a very personal, and for I would say for the subcontinental people, it's a very very emotional thing, because I don't know if you're subcontinental or what or not, but we've been brought up of thinking if you have bought a house, right, then you have achieved something in your life. This is something that we have been brought up with. If your parents bought a house, their life is secure, right? In Germany, it's not like that. The amount that you actually need to have in order to buy a house or an apartment is high, very, very high. Or even back home, in whichever city you're in, it's getting more and more expensive for you to buy a house. So if you buy a house for yourself, it's in many cases a worse investment if you buy it for as a rental property, because then you can have certain tax benefits to that. But obviously I won't say that buying a house is a bad thing. It's more an emotional thing. And if you are having that emotion, if you're feeling that buying a house gives me a satisfaction that I can sleep easily at night, then obviously it's a better investment for you, because it's an emotional thing. But strictly speaking, for numbers, if you buy for yourself and invest in the stock market in a good, um, in those companies which are performing very good, and let's say in the future they'll be performing very well as well, it can be um, a good option to invest in the stock market, as long as you're not paying a lot of rent. So if you're not paying a lot of rent, let's say if you're paying 1,100 euros in rent every single month, then it might be a good option for you to simply put in 0% down payment and buy a house or an apartment where you're actually paying less in terms of your mortgage than the rent that you're paying. So it depends on individual factors, your own philosophy, and if you find a good deal, if you're buying that house or investment as a rental property. So many different things. But in my personal opinion, right now I'm only invested in the stock market, and if I find a very very good deal, then I'll definitely put in uh, certain down payment and buy that real estate property. Okay, brother, how are you? I'm fine. Please speak about scalable savings plan and how to withdraw from savings account. So, a savings plan is nothing special. It's just an automatic option where you put in a company stock or ETF, and you automatically buy on a recurring basis, which is specifically uh, run on a specific date and a specific amount. That's it. You can modify, edit, or delete your savings plan any single time when the market's open, and you can sell your investment out of that without any issues. Um, Let me share something if it is possible. Hmm. So let me share my screen with you. So this is my portfolio right now. I think it may take a few seconds. Can you see the portfolio? Okay, so here's my portfolio. If you go into the savings plan, I have these savings plans. Or let's just go into the Microsoft savings plan option. So each and every month I have 100 euros savings plan. I have inflation adjustment off. Frequency is monthly. Execution is the 7th of every month, and this is directly taking my from my bank account. So I can easily just go to my broker. Let's say let's go to Microsoft, and I can sell all of it. It doesn't matter if the savings plan is running or not. I can sell this whole investment uh, or buy more. So it's something that is saving us time and doing things automatically. So it's not a time bound savings plan. It can be modified, changed, sold, or done whatever with, as long as the market is open. Okay. um so you can withdraw if you sold your investments, sold your savings plan investment, then you can withdraw it within 2 to 3 working days. Congratulations on reaching 20K. Thank you very much. I have been following you since past 3. Oh, Thank you very much again. My current net worth in scalable capital is 4,000 euros, and you had major. Thank you very much. Yes. Uh, my only recommendation would be for you to stay consistent. 4,000 euros might not be a huge amount for many people, but I would say it's a very good amount. Um, you always start from zero, right? So 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 40,000, 100,000, 400,000. Hopefully, just keep on adding as much as you can and grow your portfolio and make educated decisions, please. Hello, I need your help. How do I add cash to Revolut app in Germany? You cannot add cash directly. Do you mean like adding money to your account? You cannot. Um, there's no cash deposit options available for Revolut, so you can only transfer money from a bank account. So you have to ask your employer to add money to your Revolut account, as you cannot add cash from a bank directly, or you can transfer it from another bank account if you have another one. Thank you for all you do. Thank you very much. I started investing last year because of you. My question is, what is a savings account in Germany, and how do I connect? How do Comdirect Tagesgeld Plus? So a savings account is, as everyone knows, there are current accounts, there are savings account, and then there is Festgeld Konto. So Tagesgeld is going to be a current account, and the Sparkonto or the savings account is another option of a current. It's not a current account, but it's a saving account, but it's not a time bound account. And then there's a Festgeld Konto, which is going to be a time bound account. So if you have a savings account, it's nothing other than an account where you get an interest on the money that you have in your bank account, and you can easily move that money in and out of your savings account to your current account, or use it to buy groceries or whatever. But make sure that you if you are getting a Festgeld Konto or a time bound account, there you'll get higher interest rates compared to the savings account, but then your money will be blocked for a certain amount. So make sure that you look into that before you get that account. uh, so I did not understand your second part of the question. How do I feel about the Tagesgeld Konto from Comdirect? Yes, it's a good account. My wife has it, so she uses it direct like regularly. So it's um, she's happy with it. There's no problem with that. So Comdirect is owned by Commerzbank, which is owned in the same group as the Deutsche Bank. So relatively speaking, it's a very safe company, or a safe bank. So it shouldn't have any problems. Uh, Hi, Salam Sai. Thanks. Thank you for your kind words. Regards, your junior. Yeah. Love your content. Indian living in Germany here. What do you say about trading 212? Is it safe? Would you recommend it or anything? So, trading 212, the only downside that I see is that it's not a German broker, right? So you'll have to do your taxes on your own. Within trading 212, there are certain options. For example, they lend your shares uh, outside to other companies. Um, for that, you do get a certain amount of interest. So that is quite risky in my opinion. Sorry. So I would turn that off. Other than that, I think it's a good company. It's very reliable, but only downside I see is that it's not a German broker, and you'll have to pay taxes. You'll have to like do your tax return in order to fully comply with the German regulation. Other than that, it's quite good. Okay. Do you have any knowledge about Vermögenswechselleistung? Is it good? Personally, I do not have any information on that at the moment, but uh, I am doing research on that topic, and I'll make a video on that. Not soon, but I'll definitely make it in the coming time. So from personal experience, I cannot make a comment on that at the moment. So my question, I send the amount using Revolut and then tap. Does it also account? I send it to my, yes. So as long as there's a money trail, it will definitely be counted. So let's say you have X bank account and then you use a Y app and then you send it into a Z account. As long as it's documented, it's no problem. But there are certain things that you need to be careful about. For example, the time when you send the money. If you're sending it to your parents or wife or grandparents, make sure that you send it on in the starting of the year or at equal intervals. For example, if you send money, let's say 10,000 euros on a yearly basis, if you send the 10,000 euros in December, the finance arm might have an objection that you send this payment towards the end of the year, and they will not consider the whole 10,000 euros. They'll consider, let's say, 3,000 or 4,000 euros. It depends. Like I have seen cases where the finance amt has not accepted amount that is sent later on in the year if it's just a single payment. uh, but if they see a historical data where you send regular basis to your parents or whatever, so you send 2 to 3 payments or 4 payments a year, February, June, October, and then December, then they'll also consider them. So make sure that you send it on a regular basis. And if you send a single payment in a year, make sure that you send it towards the starting of the year so that all of that money is considered by the finance arm and there's no issue in that. Okay. uh, Regarding tax incentive, which investment is the best one in Germany? I'm 30. Tax investments in terms of incentives, there are different options available. The biggest tax incentive is if you are a high earner, you can definitely look into private pension plans. I made a video, I think last year in November, December, as a partnership with David from he's an independent broker, works in as works for there's a private Gambia, I forgot the name, but uh, if you're a high earner, then you can invest in private pension plans, and then you can get directly 3 to 4,000 euros uh, benefits if you invest in your private pension plan. Other than that, there isn't much tax incentive in investing. Maybe you can look into rental property. If it's a rental property, then you can definitely get a tax incentive in all of the expenses that you have for your house. For example, the interest that you pay, the Nebenkosten, and if there are any repairs that you've done to the house, those can be put into your tax return. So it can be a good tax incentive. I consider to buy rental property in Germany close to French border, but I can't speak German. Dividend investment, I like it a lot, but I don't want to pay. Yeah, definitely. As I said, rental properties are good, but yeah, it's a tricky situation. You get good investment options, good rental properties in smaller cities, but then you have to be those brokers or those people generally don't speak that good of English, so you'll have to either involve someone who buys that rental property for you, but then you'll have to pay certain amount for that person that is involved in that. So again, it's a difficult situation. Yes, obviously dividends are good, but yeah, again, you'll have to pay the 26.75% as a dividend. But there's no uh, tax-free option available anywhere in the world. I think probably the UAE or certain countries like that, but either way, you have to pay taxes. So um, certain options. Maybe you can look into individual stocks, like non-dividend paying stocks where there's a high growth potential. Maybe that can work for you. Other than that, I don't like gold because it doesn't produce anything. I'm pretty skeptical about Bitcoin. So another no, I'm confused. Yeah, so I think You can look into growth stocks. It's a good option to have rental properties. If you live in, as you said, you're looking to buy something in outskirts of Germany, in like outskirts of bigger cities or near the French border. You can try your luck, but I would say like make sure, because real estate is a huge investment. It's a huge decision to make. So I would not just willy-nilly take a risk in that huge amount. So I would look probably into growth stocks which have like higher potential, obviously high risk, high reward situation. Maybe something like that can be an option for you. No, yes. I don't know what no, yes means. Maybe you can um, remind me. What is the tax difference between ETFs and single dividend stocks? How is it calculated? It's the same way. Every dividend is taxed the same way if it's from an ETF or an individual stock. The only thing, or the only addition, is that if it's a German stock, or if it's a German ETF, then there's no withholding tax. For external companies or US based or non-European, non-German companies, it's going to be an additional withholding tax on the dividend. But obviously, if you are within that 1,000 euros per year limit, then it won't be taxed. Um, can I add those money which I sent from Pakistan using Revolut in the tax return? Yeah, yes. You can, if you send money from directly from a bank account to your parents to a bank account. It's also okay if you send it from a bank account to a third-party app like Wise or TapTapSend or Ace Money Transfer. That also works. How much gains have you made with your portfolio? At the moment, I share my portfolio, my scalable capital portfolio, with everyone publicly. So right now, my portfolio value is 27,925 euros, and the unrealized gain is 7,761 right now. Okay. What do you think? Does cybersecurity have good scope in Germany, or is cybersecurity jobs giving good? Yes, cybersecurity is a very good option everywhere in the world. Um, if you are skilled in that field, definitely there are very good paying jobs available in Germany. But obviously, you need to have, if you're not already in Germany, you need to be having, I would say, even if it's not necessary for your job, but even then, I would recommend that you have at least B1 German speaking language skills before coming to Germany. If you're already in Germany, I would still recommend you to do German language, get at least B1 language level, and then uh, obviously it's a good field. Crypto taxes, talked about it a lot, so going over it again. If you have invested in cryptocurrencies and have not sold or converted or done any staking for that specific crypto, then it's tax free after 1 year. Within 1 year, the tax that you have to pay would be on your tax class. So for one tax class one, you will be paying around 42 or something percent. So whatever you're paying in your salary slip, that amount does correlate to paying taxes on cryptocurrencies which are held for less than 1 year. Yes, 0% taxes in crypto, again, which has been held for more than a year and not traded, not converted, not like bought and kept without doing anything for a year. Only that amount is tax free. Other than that, any trades would be considered as a taxable event. Uh, Withdraw crypto in Germany. Did German citizenship required? No, there's no requirement to withdraw cryptocurrencies. It depends on your bank account. So if you withdraw, let's say if you sell a cryptocurrency from an exchange and then you convert it to euros and then you send that amount to your bank, certain banks have limitations to the amount that you can send from a crypto source. Certain banks have no options to accept payments from crypto sources. So make sure that you look into your banking institute first. So that's the only thing. Savings account in Germany, is it halal? Saving account, if you're, I'm no religious scholar, but interest is not allowed in Islam. So obviously, savings account are not, superficially speaking, not halal, so not allowed. How to start a business after graduation? Business is a different topic. For most people, you either need to have a very high amount in terms of investment, or if you already have a PR. So these are generally the two options uh, in which you can start your own business. On Blue Card, you're not allowed to start your own business. On a student visa, again, you're also not allowed to start your own business. Once you have your PR, then you can start your own business. You can start with a Einzelunternehmen. You can start if you have uh, if you are have a liability thing in mind, then you can start with the UG, just €1 or €10, €100, €1,000. Or if you're looking for a fully fledged company, you can start with the GmbH, which requires €25,000 initial capital, and then again it will be like 5 to 7 thousand euros initial starting cost. So maybe think about €30,000 starting cost for that business. Uh, was the answer to when you asked whether your screen? Sorry. uh, anyways, to contact you, email. So you can always write a comment in any of my videos. I answer within a few hours. If it's a weekend, I generally take some time to respond to your questions. Um, so I would say YouTube is the fastest way to contact me. I do respond to emails, but at a slower frequency. And if anyone really, really wants to talk to me and wants to get a coaching from me, then you can get an appointment. It's going to be a paid appointment. But obviously, if you want to discuss specific details and want to have a video chat with me, then it's going to be a paid option. But first option, I recommend people to write a comment. I generally answer very quickly, or email to a lesser frequency. And then if you want to have a one-to-one discussion, then it's a paid option. You can have a chat with me. Can you tell me a bank where I can German bank account as a minor without? Yes. If you are a minor in Germany, maybe you got a document which allowed you to travel alone. You can take that document to a bank, but I think most banks do not allow a minor account without the parents being like available in Germany. So you might have huge issues. So in the meantime, what you can do is there are certain bank accounts that you can open in your home country which have access to which have branches in Germany. So you can look into that bank account. But other than that, it's very, very difficult to have an account for a minor which is not having their parents in Germany. It is unfortunate, but that's the reality. Do we still have to show tax return when we draw? You don't have to, but I would say it's a good thing to do, because the 1 year has already been covered, and you have your own crypto, and declaring that 1 year old crypto can be helpful, as sometimes in worst case scenarios, if it's a like with crypto, there are certain cases where you get really, really good gains. And um, the like I know people who have had like hundreds of thousands of euros in Germany, in like they did huge investments in very small meme coins, got hundreds of thousands of euros. They kept that investment for a year. They did not declare it in a tax return, even though the 100,000 euros was after a year. But even then, they got audited because it was a huge amount. So in that case, I always recommend that you just declare that cryptocurrency, even if it's more than a year old. So that way, your case is covered. There's no problem if you get audited or something like that. you're planning to come to Germany with the opportunity card, if you can open a bank account. Uh, uh, so if you have a bank account in Germany, and if the crypto is more than a year old, so it's again, it's a very difficult thing to answer, because for certain countries there is an option that the 1 year old crypto is accepted. For certain countries it's not, and there's no list which explicitly says that. So it depends on each individual officer which is handling your case. So in that case, you can, yes, you can withdraw it if it's older than a year, but it's a quite difficult topic, difficult question to answer without knowing every single fact about that transfer. Okay. 1.5 hours. Okay. I was planning to just have it for an hour, but thank you very much for the questions. Thank you for sticking around for this long. Hopefully, this video was informative. If you have any other questions, you can definitely ask me. Okay, there's one more question. This is the last question, and then I'll stop. On PR, can we do freelance? Is YouTube also along with the full-time job and keep your current tax class? On a PR, yes, you can do freelancing and YouTube along with your main job, but then you'll have to ask your main employer if that's allowed. Uh, it depends on the employer. So in terms of visa situation, it's not a problem. You can do freelancing, you can start your own business, you can do YouTube or whatever. But then you'll first have to ask your employer, then register a business, and then work as a freelancer um, or have your own business. But uh, again, it depends on the employer as well. I have a detailed video on how to start a YouTube channel in Germany, and how to how to grow a business alongside your full-time job. These two videos do concern that topic, so make sure that you watch that video. Can I buy property in Germany although I am an Indian and not living in Germany? Yes, you can buy a property in Germany, but there's a limit. I think you'll need to have to buy a property that is above €500,000. um, so, but I'm not quite sure the amount, but yes, you can buy a property if you're living outside Germany. So that's it for today. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Make sure to like, subscribe, share this or any videos with your friends, family. If you have any questions, make sure to write them down in the comments below. Until the next video, bleibt gesund.